Hey guys, my name is Tracey Elle, and today I am going to be showing you my high school artwork, which is so embarrassing. It's it's pretty bad, but not everyone starts off great. You don't even really start off good. You start off kind of sucking, and from there you get better. So this is where I started off with and how I got to where I am now. I still have a lot to learn, but if you really like something, then you'll study it and indulge in it. I'd been drawing all my life, but I started taking drawing really seriously in high school. My drawings have always been a way for me to communicate. I decided I wanted to make films somewhere between 5th and 8th grade. We had to do one of those projects where we decided what we wanted our career to be when we grew up. I guess I took the assignment way too seriously because I went home and I was like, yeah, this is how people decide what they want to be when they grow up. I am 10 years old. It's time I get my act together. So at the time I was really into film and I loved writing. I used to write short stories all the time. And I thought for sure I wanted to be a writer. And I told my mom and she wholeheartedly disagreed. So I had to pick something else. I was watching the DVD extras of Monsters, Inc. And I saw one about working at Pixar. And I saw these people who were getting paid to make stories and draw pictures. And John Lasseter made it sound so great. And I just thought, oh my God, this is exactly where I need to be. They just made such beautiful artwork. And I always tried for everything to be pretty when I was drawing. I just wanted things to look the way they did in my head, and I wanted them to make sense to other people. But I didn't really have any direction. When I said I wanted to be an animator, my guidance counselor was like, that's ridiculous. And no one really knew what that was or what I was talking about. I wasn't allowed into any of the figure drawing classes in my town because I was under 18, and my high school had an art teacher for 1 year, and then for the rest of the 3 years they were trying to phase out the art program, so we had substitutes who kind of just let us have free range of the art room and just use whatever we wanted. I knew that if I wanted to get into art school I'd need a portfolio though. I tried really hard to use the resources that I did have, and those were my school offered a photography class, a video game design class, and the community college offered a writing class. And the teachers really didn't know what they were doing at all. They kind of just gave us these tools and said, let's figure this out together. I guess that's all it takes. I feel like I still do that now if I have to learn a program. I really believe that it only takes a weekend to learn how to use a tool, whether that tool is Photoshop, After Effects, watercolors. If you lock yourself in a room and give yourself plenty of ways to study, you will come out of that room being at least good at whatever you were trying to achieve. I never won any awards or got any kind of recognition for my art in high school. I did draw a lot of comics with my friends. I watched a lot of anime. This one was kind of based off of XX-holic. I'd spend a lot of time reading. I think that's what got me so interested in developing my own stories. I would spend days at Barnes & Noble's, days at the library. This was my first fan art picture I did for a band called Covering Fire. They had like an album competition for artwork. This is a poster competition my school had for the new library, and the only people who entered were me and this girl who wanted to go to school for dentistry. I forget what she drew, but she won the competition and she got a scholarship for $700 and a gift certificate for $50. The judge was the same teacher who was helping me get my portfolio together for art school, and I was just really confused and upset. Like I said, by that point I just stopped trying to do my artwork for other people. I really liked making this poster, and I was really proud of it. So it didn't stop me from making more artwork. And that's what you gotta do sometimes. People aren't always gonna like your work. Sometimes people are gonna just tell you suck, and you gotta deal with that. Like, it's okay if other people don't like your work. If you just keep trying to improve, you'll get better. This is some of the work I did with the last drawing teacher I had in high school. I told her I wanted to be an animator, and I figured she would know exactly what to do for me to go down that path. But she didn't. She was happy with my enthusiasm, and so she told me, well, Tracy, you gotta draw hands. That's how you get into art school. Draw a bunch of hands. And so I did, and they all looked terrible, but it was good practice. This is a stamp project that we did. It came into my work later because now I like having solid, bold colors. Recently, I tried to draw 50 Redditors in 48 hours, and a lot of the pictures incorporated one statement color, almost like a stamp, which I didn't notice until just now. And this was my first self-portrait. This is my first painting. We had to make an illustration based off of one word, and I chose water closet because in the 50s it was like a bad word for bathroom. But when I thought of the word water closet, I imagined opening my closet and there's an ocean inside. And so I just went with that. And this was my first still life. That painting was the first time that I had ever used acrylic or anything other than pencil to draw. At that time I was doing only pencil drawings. Here I was trying to copy Chris Sanders. I really love his style. It's okay to copy from the people that you like because that's what gives you your style. You take a little bit of what you like from each of your influences and blend it together and it becomes your own. So this one is my first shot at a storyboard. I thought to myself, if I put an animation in my portfolio, I'm sure to get into art school. But I really didn't know how to animate and no one really knew how to help me. So instead I just made a bunch of character designs and storyboarded scenes I thought of in my head. This is a shot of my two main characters riding through the sky. For some reason there's grapefruits in the sky. Why did I draw grapefruits in the sky? No clue. Here's a picture with a deer woman standing on a grapefruit fishing. This is a project we did where we had to do two of our favorite things, and so I did the ocean and hydrangeas. This is the first Photoshop picture I did. I got really frustrated doing this. I was trying so very hard and nothing was coming out the right way. I wasn't necessarily being encouraged or discouraged. People were just like, yeah, you did that. Or people would be like, why are you doing this? Why are you trying so hard with all this stuff? And you really have to be your own biggest motivator. Always ask for constructive criticism and feedback. Then I would take those constructive suggestions and apply them to my sketchbook. I really didn't meet any other artist friends till college, but I knew this one girl in my town whose mother was a painter, and like, this girl, she was so good. We were the same age, but she was so far ahead of me, and she got to do like murals around town and other things, and I was so driven by her. I just wanted to hang out with her just to have another artist friend to do art with. So I'd go over to her house and we'd draw in our sketchbooks together, and stuff would kind of come out like this. Around the time I was 17, I started looking for art schools. That was really the only advice my counselor had for me. She said, well, I mean, I don't know any art schools or anything along those lines, but I'll tell you what, you'd make a great nurse. If you want to Google some art schools, you can go for it. And I went home and I Googled art schools because I don't want to be a nurse. I was only 17 when I started college, so I had to be like 16 when I was picking these out, and I was very confused. And I remember thinking, okay, well, one of these has to be pretty alright. I'll just pick one. I'll just apply to all of them. I kind of ended up picking my college at random. I don't think it was the best way to go about it. If I could go back in time now, I'd spend a year or two at community college until I got into a really good animation school. Even though I lacked a lot of direction in high school, the passion for what I wanted to do was always so deeply ingrained in me, and there was nothing that could change. That I had made up my mind. And I still feel that same sense of the need to write and the need to create is still there. That desire has never gone away, and I think that's how you know that you're doing the right thing. I'm still constantly learning, and I burn through sketchbooks. Because drawing isn't just something you do, it's something you have to do. So growing up, I taught myself to draw, and I didn't have any guidance until I went to college. But I know I'm not the only one in that position. Art programs across the country are closing left and right at public schools. Everything always comes back full circle, you know? I wish I had 22-year-old me around when I was 14-year-old me to help me out. And when I see that in other kids, I just want to help. Yeah, that was my high school sketchbook. And that's one of the reasons why I made this channel, was so if there are any people out there who they're in a community or in a town where you have to shop at AC Moore to get your art supplies, and there's literally no one you can talk about art with, this channel's for you. This channel is so that you have someone to draw with, and so that you know someone thinks you can be great. Nobody's artwork starts off good. We all start off bad. But being bad's the first step to being really amazing at something. Thanks for looking at my high school sketchbook. Subscribe, comment, and share. keep drawing, and stay in touch.